Hello, my name is Johnny. Welcome to another Marvel Character Talk video. Today we're going to look at the pin-ups and feature pages of the first Amazing Spider-Man annual from 1964. Like, please subscribe, hit that notification bell, like, reply, and share. Let me show the cover here. And for a look through at the story, I already did a video on that because they had another edition of this and all the feature pages and everything were cut out, so I only looked through the main story. I'll leave that as a link at the end so you can see that. Here's a look at the cover so you see all the cool fellows in here, and we'll see who we got in the pinups. So it's a very long story, and on the other video it left off right here because this is going to be the first pinup, and they were all gone. So the very last page is here. And Aunt May and Betty Brant, the Torch, and Jameson, and this cool last panel where they got all the Sinister Six in jail, like they'd have them all here. They took away the Vulture's wings. He doesn't have his mask. He doesn't have his fishbowl head. He doesn't have his arms. But let's take a look here at all the features. So we've got Gallery of Spider-Man's Most Famous Foes. This is the best annual they ever did, I think, with story and features. And then runners-up are the first two Fantastic Four annuals, which also had great Kirby pinups of the FF's annual foes, including Hulk, because he was in there, and Submariner. So you got The Burglar, Amazing Fantasy 15, August 62. And I'm not going to go through all of these pointed out, but see that right there? SD for Steve Ditko. On almost all of these, he put his little initials in there, so that's cool. And so in issue number 1, we've got the Chameleon. Great disguises and everything. Very neat. I like taking off the masks. It's like a mustache. Very interesting looking. Let's take a look here. The Vulture. So he was in issue 2 and 7. It's an expensive issue to get. I'd like to get that one. Very cool. And then see how the lettering is different for each of the characters. That's a little feathery looking. This was neat. The Terrible Tinkerer. Here he is looking in his human form, and then he takes off his mask and he thinks he's aliens, and then later you find out that in a much farther issue that he was human, so he just pretended to be alien at the end. These are cool looking aliens. If they were real Ditko, I'd like to bring them back. I like the green alien and then the antennas. Very nice. That's issue 2. Got 3, Otto Octavius. There's the SD right there. It's easy to spot there. The shadow. I don't know if they did some pin-up, shirts or posters with some of these, but the great look for each one of them. Going slowly so you can kind of read. I'll pause on what it's talking about there for each one. And then number 4, so look at it, new villain. Very cool. Sandman, I like the Ditko fingers. Love the Sandman. Yeah, so he'd start out with Spider-Man, and then he'd graduate to fighting the Torch, and then the rest of the Fantastic Four, and he'd join the Frightful Four. And then he fought the Hulk, and then he was reformed a little bit and fighting with Silver Sable in the 1980s. and stuff. Anyway, very cool character. Always like the Sandman. And I like his striped shirt. And later on, it was cool in the Frightful Four. He didn't get a new uniform, really, but he changed over to the purple, violet colors of the Frightful Four to match in instead of the green. Here we got Dr. Doom appearance, number 5. It's always neat to see a different look on Dr. Doom back then. And then here we got Lizard, number 6. So it's neat that you got an FF villain, and I think that's the first Doom outside of a Fantastic Four. I always liked the look of the early Lizard. So you can see why someone would want to take these out and put them in a scrapbook and stuff. But look at this, you'd have to get 2, unless you had clear sleeves, which people didn't have back in the day. You'd be pasting this on. You got to choose which side you want to see on all of these, putting them in a scrapbook. There's the Living Brain. This was from the special tribute to teenagers issue. It also had the Human Torch featured. And this is a great look for Electro. I think I've seen that one on a shirt. What was this guy's name? Yeah, Max Dillon. When I was a kid and a teenager, I'd like to draw, and I did a little picture on the cardboard of just cut it out and colored it in the yellow and stuff of Electro. So then this is cool, the Big Man. Too bad they didn't have more of the Big Man. And then the Enforcers were in this. Then they were in 14 with the Green Goblin and the Hulk. And then in 19 with the Sandman fighting Spider-Man. So they were big in the early days of Ditko Spider-Man. You got the Ox, Montana, and Fancy Dan. And then, of course, we got, this has got to be the 3 greatest issues in a row, 13, 14, and 15, with these villains that they came out, Steve Ditko and Stan Lee. Got Mysterio here. Hey, cool. What was his name? I don't know if they named it. I think it was Quentin Beck, the original Mysterio. So we got, in issue 13, you got Mysterio. 14, you get Green Goblin, and 15, Kraven the Hunter. A classic look for the Goblin. And it's the only time he really ever used the flying broomstick. He'd have the Goblin glider and a lot more gadgets. And 17, I've done a video on Amazing Spider-Man 17, page by page. If you want to look that up and find it and see what's in there. You can see that his identity still unknown. Supposedly there was a little bit of a disagreement between Steve Ditko and Stan Lee of who the Green Goblin was going to be. And immediately the very next issue after Steve Ditko left in 38 was the 39 and 40 where Peter finds out who the Green Goblin is, and Green Goblin finds out that Spider-Man's Peter Parker. That's John Romita took over. And then here's Kraven. Forget if I did a video yet on the Kraven page by page, because I have 15. It's got that neat purple cover at nighttime in the park. I believe these come off and he uses them, and it's got some kind of, I wouldn't say poison, but some kind of thing in there that affects Spider-Man. There's the SD down there. I like the way he draws his feet and stuff. Original Kraven was pretty cool. And then, is that it for the foes? And then we got the Secrets of Spider-Man. Won't spend as much time on these pages. And let's see what we got. Yeah, because it went all out. And this, I always like this picture about who's stronger, but Spidey's still growing. Peter Parker. We got the Thing, Hulk, and Thor. He's looking pretty chunky here. Ditko drawing him. Telling about his powers. Like I said, this is all out. It's been reprinted in Marvel Tales and all kinds of trade paperbacks. Want to get those Marvel reprints and so forth. And this is a great page showing off about his web shooter, different types of webbing. What the webbing could do. There the FF, Fantastic Four. Look at it all. So giving a lot of ideas for future artists and what they could do. It's about Spider Sense, Spidey Tingle, as they said in the MCU movies. Don't call it that, Anime. You always like that. The lines of it, the half face, his mask, more about the costume, Spider Signal. And then you got a great Peter Parker, Spider-Man pin-up here. Best look at the fingers. Touching and stuff. Best wishes from your pal Spidey. There's a great pin-up here, Spider-Man. Of course, you get some pin-ups in the issues of Amazing Spider-Man. And I kept going here. Now we got at the Daily Bugle. You got J. Jonah Jameson. I like the JJ there. And then there's Betty Brant. Peter Parker. And even look at the pad right there. This is the SD for Steve Ditko. And then about his school, classmates, professors. There's Liz Allen and Flash Thompson. Peter over here. Page after page after page. Peter Parker's house. Not quite as exciting as the Avengers Mansion or the Fantastic Four Baxter Building. Got Aunt May, where he was. Cool. And then a guest star page pinup. So we got the Hulk, and then the FF. Torch in these early days of was quite a guest starring, coming over into Spidey's mag. And then we get a little how Stan Lee and Steve Ditko create Spider-Man. There was always a lack of photos of Steve Ditko, so that's a little bit what he as he draws himself, what he looks like. There's Stan the Man. This is cool. Look at all the figures. Like there's this yellow and red Daredevil time. Giant Man. Look at Sergeant Fury and Dum Dum from the Howlers. Now look at that flattened out Mr. Fantastic. It gets X-Men, Wasp, Doctor Strange. So very nice. Little thing here. So they got this little joke thing on how they come up with the stories. Later on in the Daredevil one, they'd have one how Stan and Gene Colan do the Daredevil. So that's the last page here. It's a little 3-page thing. Very cool. Steve Areno won't be happy, but call him right away. Break the good news. We're only getting, but wait till next annual time. We'll probably have Spidey tell how he created Stan and Steve. So that's the issue here. And then these have the square edge, 25 center. And that's a look through this issue of the features and pinups. Hope you enjoyed it. More Marvel character talk videos to come. Plenty in my channel to look at. Thanks for watching.